intro. Cue that soft intro music, PB. We are back on the mics, Jack and I. Jack's got baby brain. He's a little tired. His thoughts are a little jumbled. Maybe a new segment. He'll tease it. He'll tease it. But good episode. Good episode. A lot of different topics, wiffle related. I think something really fun we did, Jack, after we talked about the St. Louis series, talked about the tournament, specifically tournament team names. Jack and I had a lot of good ideas, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, no, I think you guys, if you aren't in love with your current team name right now, I think we got plenty of options for you for your next tournament that you're gonna love if you just stick around for this episode.
It's time for a rebrand. Every now and then, you got to rebrand. And Jack and I are here to help you do that. After that, we'll talk a little March Madness, and then we'll dive into Jack's baby brain, as he's coined it. So sit back and enjoy. This is the Pipe It Up podcast, and cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. It is Jack and I today. Jack, thank you for joining me. Good to be here, just the two of us. Lots to talk about today, actually.
Yeah, we do. This was again, I feel like I said this in, I don't know if it was the last pod. This might lead into a segment idea I had, by the way, which we can get to later. But I'm forgetting if this is the last pod or the pod before that. But these episodes where it's just Tom and I feel like we always go into them and we're like, man, what are we going to talk about? And then they end up being like some of the longer ones. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think it'll be good.
I agree. And we do have some news. You know, this isn't like a total blank calendar. We have some exciting stuff going on in the sports world. But even on the MLW side of things, Jack, there was an announcement on Instagram that Kyle put out, I believe, last Wednesday or Thursday, since last pod. And MLW Wiffle Ball, along with the Diamondbacks and Eagles, are returning to St. Louis for another St. Louis series at Grizzlies Ballpark, which is exciting, Jack, because I know you played in that series, and it was our highest attended series ever. And I'd like to think that you thought it went well, because I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's tough to beat playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but I would say outside of just that experience alone of being able to do that, this St. Louis series was by far the most fun and just exciting time I've had playing in MLW. I'm so happy that Kyle decided to go back to the park with the Grizzlies and do a similar kind of event. I think he would agree that this sort of alignment with an organization like the Grizzlies does really well for both like us and them. Like, it's a really good partnership with these smaller kind of local teams. And I was really surprised, you know, I mean, I had never really been to St. Louis, didn't really know like what the turnout would be. It's obviously a big city, but you don't necessarily, when you throw out the big name cities in the country, you don't necessarily think of St. Louis as one of them. Yet I think it was our highest attended event ever that we've had. At least one of those special series. I don't know if this last World Series beat it or not, but the fact that Jimmy Norp is going there too, I feel like it has to break last year's records. I probably saw more Norp jerseys there last year than I did Magic jerseys, which is something, you know, I'll let you guys address that. We got to get you guys in the merch store buying some Magic gear, but either way, I think that this matchup is super exciting. It's such a great event, such a cool venue. It's going to be a blast. I'm excited for those guys that get to go.
Yeah, I'm excited for them too. I had a great time at this one as well. There was some stressful points in the day. We battled some weather in between the two games, or in between the two portions of the day, I should say. If you recall, Jack, so it actually cost us to miss out on the actual Grizzlies game, which was a bit of a bummer, but overall, like, it really went as good as it could have. It was a very long day, a very hot day, but really great memories. And I am really happy that Kyle decided to return. I enjoyed working with the point of contact there. And overall, like you said, Jack, just I like the impact that we can have on a smaller club like that, in an independent baseball league. And, when you sell 500 tickets for one of our events and their stadium only sits 2,500, it's like, whoa, you tie that to a Grizzlies ticket and all of a sudden you just sold 20% of their stadium out. Versus an MLB game, if you do that, it's like, well, 500 out of 60,000 isn't quite as impressive. Maybe 40,000, sure. But either way, it's it's a little bit different of a feel. So just feeling the impact that you have on the folks behind the scenes, the organization, that community of people that work so hard to put out a good product for the fans that do come, even though it's not, nationally televised and not talked about amongst, the entire surrounding city and things like that. It's pretty special to me. So I really enjoyed the times that I got the chance to work with smaller clubs and organizations like that. And I also, of course, loved the big clubs for different reasons, but for what I just listed, those smaller clubs are pretty special to work with.
Yeah, I'll never forget. That was the next event series that was played right after the Home Run Derby video dropped.
Oh, I forgot
and in
about
that Home Run Derby video, I had somehow miraculously hit, I think it was, I don't remember if it was a dizzy bat lefty or just a straight lefty.
I think it was a dizzy
but it was a home run. I think it was a dizzy bat that I came up left-handed and I just hit it. I still hit a home run.
I don't know how you did that.
I don't know how either, but either way, that was the last video that came out. So I get there. If you guys haven't seen the video, I mean, I'm sure you guys, most of you have, but if not, go watch. It's pretty funny. Just everyone's, chanting for me to go lefty, like bat left-handed. I gave it a couple at bats. I think I struck out once, maybe got a walk once, but yeah, I'll never forget that series. It was so exciting and just electric to play in front of that crowd.
Yeah, that was a great crowd, and Drew Davis is good at riling the crowd up, of course. Jack, speaking of that lefty thing, what was cool to me about that was, I believe that was played on a Saturday, the St. Louis series. And I think the Home Run Derby was uploaded the Friday before. So obviously, it doesn't surprise me that our ticket-paying audience, like our fans that are that invested to spend money and time to come and see the event, it doesn't shock me that they're watching the video right away. But still, to see so many kids be a part of the lefty chant and understand what's going on was pretty cool. Like, wow, that came out yesterday, and everyone's already has seen it and was talking about it, and that was cool to me too.
It was just so funny, the buzz, building up, because, people are coming in. We're kind of, getting warmed up. We're interacting with the fans and stuff kind of before the game. And it was just, that was every question from every kid I met was, Are you going to bat lefty? You going to bat lefty? You got to hit a dinger lefty. You got to do it. And then, I was like, oh, yeah, maybe we'll see. And I wasn't really expecting to get up there and have, the whole crowd be, begging for me to swing left-handed. I don't know why they want to see that, but, yeah, that was great.
People like to have fun. I mean, younger kids especially. It reminds me of the Savannah Bananas, just putting on a fun product for everybody. So props to you, Jack, for 100%. Actually, I think you did give one at-bat a shot, and then you're like, I can't give away anymore. I tried.
Yeah.
How electric would it have been though if you got a hit or went yard?
I'll have to watch the video. I'm pretty sure I did it twice because I walked on the first one because I just was scared to swing. and then on the second one I struck out, but it was a really nice pitch. The thing about it was like a mental thing where it's kind of I didn't think about it as much when I'm right-handed, but in golf, you kind of have these I think good golfers at least kind of have a sort of trigger in their routine that's all right, I can swing now, and now I'm gonna actually hit the ball once I'm in this routine. And you see baseball players do the same thing too. They step in the box, they do the same thing every time, same kind of rhythm, and they're ready to go. I didn't have that at all left-handed, so there were 2 or 3 pitches that I'm watching it come in. I'm swing, 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 swing. And I just didn't have the mental trigger to actually swing with my hands. So I just watch it go by. And that got me one walk. 1 walk and 1K, I think. So
hey, you're on base. Not bad. Yeah, that was a fun one for sure. Memorable. 2 years ago now, but I still remember it like it was yesterday. I have a video somewhere. I should send it to Pat. I have a video somewhere in my Snapchat memories of me walking off the field that day and like panning my camera around and smiling. I could find it, but
I think actually the highlight of that tournament was you doing the sock toss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you recap that for the listeners?
Just a humbling moment, Jack. A humbling moment, and then a man that was wearing many hats at the time, trying to event plan and film and play and be entertaining and put on a live show and whatever, you name it. So yeah, I'm sitting there excited, and I'm making a big old list of like a dream list of a bucket list or a wish list of what I want to do at this event to engage the fans and make it memorable for those watching on YouTube, as well as those that bought tickets and were there in person. So you think, when you were 10 years old, like what was awesome at a game? Well, I think of a t-shirt toss, or like when at Michigan State, for example, they shoot off the foam basketballs. Like that's the best. There's nothing better than catching a free item. So I was like, Kyle, we should bring along some socks and I'll just throw them into the crowd. And he's like, yeah, that would be great. So I get socks as one of the in-between inning initiatives to just engage the fans. And I'm planning on throwing them over the backstop. And, it was pretty high, but I trusted my arm a little bit and just didn't quite have it in me. I thought if I balled the socks up nice and tight, I could chuck it over. And turns out I couldn't do it, Jack. And again, in hindsight, it's like maybe I should have tried that before the series started. And I think I might have actually. I might have just thrown one pair and gotten it over and be like, okay, I'm good to go. But then in the heat of the moment, I don't know if I was too close, too far away, if I was just tired or nervous, but it was not happening. And every single time I threw those socks, Jack, they were becoming more loosely like looped together as a pair. So my arm was getting more tired, and the socks weren't flying as good through the air after every passing throw. And
double whammy.
Yeah, I probably tried 5 times or so before I just, you know what, it's time to give up. And then I don't think it actually made the video, but then like the next half inning, or maybe it was right after I'd failed, I like ran around the net and stood on top of the dugout and then threw them in the crowd. So people did get their socks, guys. Don't think I shortchanged the crowd there. We did give away what we brought to give away. But definitely like a little bit embarrassing, but also a moment to kind of laugh at yourself and have some fun as you're learning, because it's just part of doing something new. You plan for so many things and try to eliminate as many things that are in your control as you can. And that was something that, again, in hindsight, kind of was in my control. I could have tested that and foolproofed it a bit more, or just ran to the dugout the first time. But sometimes you got to fail and fall flat on your face in order to succeed in the end. So in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, there was no net, so I had no issue doing the sock toss. Yeah,
no problem there. It actually would have been way funnier if we just didn't give out socks.
I'm just nope, couldn't get it over the net. Yeah, but that was definitely a funny moment of the day. And, I'm fully aware that these things are on camera. So I like as it's happening, what's going on. People are watching, people are filming. But again, I was laughing as it was happening, and I was like acting like I was loosening up my shoulder and just trying to have fun, because I think some of the funnier moments in life are when things, to an extent, I'm a very much like I want things to go well, and again, I want to control what I can control. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to crack a joke at yourself sometimes and have fun with those that are watching you fail. I mean, what else are you supposed to do in a moment like that?
No, dude, you did great. You did great.
Thanks.
You did great playing it off, not in the sock toss, but being a part of the being a part of the entertainment. You did great.
Honestly, I challenge. So it's D-backs and Eagles. Kyle will obviously be there. I don't know if he'll have any sort of production crew there, but I would like to challenge someone to try it. I wouldn't say do it for 5 tries in a row. Maybe give yourself 2 tries and then run to the dugout and try. But I think I'm going to challenge MLW internally here. I think you should have like maybe 3 or 4 pairs ready to give out. Have people jump on top of the dugouts, throw out maybe 1 or 2 of those, and then bring someone back around and have them try to get it over the net. That's my challenge to everybody.
No, we absolutely have to have some people designated to do that. That's an annual thing now at the St. Louis tournament.
I think so too. Maybe even bring a fan out and have them try it.
It has to be. Until we get the investment approval for a sock gun, it will have to be manually thrown over.
I think I agree. I wonder if sounds dangerous. You think like a potato gun or a t-shirt gun would do the trick for a pair of socks?
Oh, dude, I think if you shot a pair of socks out of a t-shirt gun, that thing would fly.
I think so too.
That would go far.
Out of the stadium, potentially. Sure. T-shirt guns are electric.
Yep.
Again, I'm just, at these events, when you want to make things fun, you think of what's electric as a child. A t-shirt gun, there's nothing more electric than that.
No, they're awesome. I love them.
So fun. I love free stuff. But fun event. I believe it is May 31st off the top of my head. Don't quote me on it. PB, you can pop up a date if I'm incorrect. But we'll have our editor, Patrick Ballman. He'll put the link in the description to find tickets and information for that event. And have fun for those that go. Good luck to the D-backs and Eagles. Going to be a fun summer of stadiums. I know there's a couple more that Kyle has not yet announced. Jack, I'm excited as a player. What are your thoughts? I have actually kind of two different perspectives I see it through because I've been on the back end of running the event, but also playing in the event and doing it simultaneously. But what are your thoughts in terms of playing in these Summer of Stadiums series versus just playing at the Meadows?
I mean, from a player standpoint, there's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of pros and cons, I would say, to both. But I think by and large, if I had to pick, I would take, I would take the out of state series over playing at the Meadows, just because there's nothing there's only so many opportunities that you get to not only perform, but just to be in a competitive environment and feed off of the energy of the crowd.
Yeah.
It's that's such a unique thing in sports, even though I get it when you're hey, 300, 500 people, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're playing on a really small field and the setup of the field is very intimate, it feels like a lot of people. It really does feel like a lot of people. And that's just tough to recreate. I mean, the Meadows is great, but it really, all things considered, wouldn't take much to set up a fence and a backstop and just play with your buddies, and that's what you're getting at the Meadows. So it's hard to really compare that. That being said, it does take a little bit to kind of settle in. I feel my first couple at bats, I'm definitely a little shaky and nervous, just because you're all right, I'm actually doing this in front of people. It's worse than doing it in front of the camera, because in the camera it's it's kind of, I don't know, it's they're only seeing one pitch, so it's they don't know what happened on the rest of them. This one's they see everything. They see your whole at bat. That terrible swing that you took on the first pitch, they saw that. You know what I mean? So that's where the nerves come in, but I think those nerves are good. And I think that's what makes it fun. So yeah, I love playing in these series. I'm happy that now we're at the point where every team gets to do it, every year, playing at least one. I think that's so cool. So they're just an absolute blast. The Meadows is fantastic, but I think these ones are hard to beat.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about strictly playing the games as a player, I really do enjoy playing in front of the crowd. I've really only done that once because Miami last year, I wasn't really too involved with what was going on behind the scenes in the operations of the day. But Philly, for example, was awesome. I think it helped because I played really well, but super intimate environment, crowd of a couple hundred people. You're playing in you're playing in an MLB ballpark with a proper scoreboard, LED board, and signage, and just a surreal thing where it's this is a kid's dream. We're young men, we're men now, but this is a kid's dream. How is it? It's hard not to have fun. But at the same time, I really don't think I fully appreciated and enjoyed that as much as I should have until we had finished the games and I was chatting with the fans and everyone was telling me about how it was awesome, how I played good and hit home runs and the Mallards won, and I was that was awesome. That was so much fun. But I was in the moment so stressed out about the weather that was kind of impending, getting all the games in on time, doing the in-between game segments for the YouTube channel, and just putting out a good product for the fans. For example, I hit that home run over the scoreboard, and the first thing I did after I touched home plate and high-fived my teammates was sprint around to get the ball to get it back in the field so we could start playing again really quickly. So things like that. Again, I was probably more stressed than I should have been. I tend to stress myself out for that kind of stuff. But, overall, I do think that the stress results in a good end product because I care about you guys. I care about the fans coming to the games. I hope they know that. Even if it is just me playing now, like the goal, of course, is for the Mallards to win and for me to play good, but I really cared about the fan experience and everybody, getting their money's worth and having a great time, whether it was with the product on the field or the stuff happening in between games or the interactions you had with myself or other players when the series had wrapped up. Like, all that really, really matters and has a lasting impact on those that spent one day of their summers to do that versus us who, did it several times that summer. So that's kind of my take on the Summer of Stadiums. Super, super, super fun as a player. It's like a true honor, and it is a joy to host that sort of thing, but it can also come with a bit of stress.
No, it's 100%. Like, that's very well said. Definitely an honor. Like, you just feel. I've had those moments where I'm just like playing in Mercedes-Benz, like playing in St. Louis, playing in Chicago, and it's like, what did I do to like deserve to be here right now? Mm-hmm. Like, doing this for for these kids, like, nothing. And so it definitely is very much an honor. I will say, I don't remember if this was like planned intentionally or because of the weather delays, we ended up doing it this way. But I do remember in St. Louis that, that was obviously the largest like meet and greet we've had. And so we were signing autographs like and meeting everybody for a long time, which when you do it at the end of the series, like, it can be a grind. Like, it's awesome. It's like, again, like, it's amazing that we get to do that and to like have that impact on the kids, but you also want to like be genuine and like be there when you're doing it and not completely like drained. So we actually did it. I think it was when we came back for the third game. We did it like before. I can't remember exactly. I know for a fact it wasn't like we did it after the last game ended, which is like how we did it in Chicago. So that was a little bit different, where it kind of like broke up the day. And I really liked that because it was like you got to kind of like do the meet and greet and then like go back and play another game. And the other thing that's great too, I would say, about these tournaments is like some of the teams, obviously the guys like are either closer friends, have known each other for longer than other teams, but this is like a really good opportunity for the teams themselves to bond. Like, this tournament in specific, I drove down there with Grant Miller. This was like, I had obviously met Grant and we had played in a few series together, but like outside of that, I hadn't really had that much like one-on-one time, like getting to know him much. So we had plenty of time in the car to like really, become friends really. And that was awesome. Like that was another just like huge positive, like win or lose in the series. Like I really enjoyed that aspect of it too. And so that's another like kind of opportunity that it gives us, traveling and just building those friendships.
That's a great point. I'm glad you said that because I agree. I have bonded with, a lot of the Mallards guys I play with now were not like, I should say, none of those guys are ones that I came into this league knowing, right? Those are strictly like wiffle ball first relationships. And I've definitely bonded with some of my Mallards boys on trips to Philly, Miami, Oklahoma, you name it. Some great, just good laughs, nothing better sometimes than just sharing a laugh with the fellas and, long car rides, silly games like Flappy Golf was one of those ones, playing cards, who knows, all sorts of stupid stuff we did to keep ourselves busy. But ultimately, again, when you're meeting your teammates, sometimes you go into those trips with strictly teammates and you leave with a fun new group of friends. So I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Well said.
Thanks, Jack. I appreciate that. The other thing, Jack, I wanted to mention today, not a new announcement, but I don't know if we talked about it too much in detail, is in January, Kyle did release on the MLW Wiffle Ball Instagram the entire tournament schedule. And that is relevant because the Midwest Slugfest, Jack, in Peoria, Illinois, this is like year 5 of that one, I think. I think it started in 2020, 2019, somewhere in there. That one's coming back in mid-April here. We're only about 4 weekends away. And I want to get it on everybody's radar because that's been a good turnout in the past. A lot of fun. Nice facility, which is always great. And looking forward to kind of kicking off the season, I will say. That's sort of the the starting point in the MLW world on our calendar is that first tournament. So looking forward to that, and I wanted to shout it out.
Yeah, no, that's a fun one. I'm 1-for-1 in that tournament. I've been there once. I've won it once. That was where I first saw Jacob Pishka play, and then figured out that Jimmy was going to be drafting him, and said, "Oh no, that's going to be a problem." I think I might have already known Casey. I think Casey might have already been in the league at that point, playing against him there. But great event. It's a blast. I mean, if you guys haven't been to that one yet, and it's relatively local for you, or it's reasonable to travel, I would highly recommend considering it. It's a ton of fun. You won't regret it, and you're going to get to meet some of the guys and just play some great whiffs. So highly recommend.
Highly recommend. Jack, this sparked a fun idea in my brain that I texted you about and you agreed with. And that is, we see a lot of creative names at these tournaments, whether it's a team of kids, teenagers, adults even. Some of the things people create and come up with in terms of team name, jerseys, color schemes is pretty funny at times. I will give a specific shout out to a couple of my favorites that I've seen, and then Jack and I wanted to share a couple of things that we brainstormed together, and thought that if you're thinking about joining and you need a team name, we have some ideas for you that we wanted to share. So Jack, I want to do a couple honorable mentions first of my favorites I've seen out there. Number one, bar none to me. Bar one. You know me, Jack. I've been one to crack a fart joke every now and then, right? Bar none, my favorite was a team that we saw in Texas, and they were called the Runs. And their jerseys were brown. They were all wore number 2, and the typography, like the font of their lettering that said the Runs, was actually made of a roll of toilet paper. It was a fantastic branding top to bottom for an organization in a football tournament. It doesn't get much better than that. So shout out to the Runs, one of my favorites. I mentioned this to Kyle. One of his favorites was a team called the Good Ideas. And he said it was funny because kind of the entire tournament, it was a group of adults, like dads. And whenever someone would like draw a walk or like throw a good pitch or have a decent 0-2 pitch, like, yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea, man. That was their lingo all tournament long. So I don't know. Do you recall any of your favorites that you've seen?
Yeah, no, I would say just the most. I mean, their name isn't anything crazy, but like the Flamingos are always the most memorable ones to me, just because of their jerseys. And it's kind of just like a funny name, but I really love their jerseys. I'm trying to remember, like there's definitely been some creative ones, but that's probably the team that like sticks out most in my mind. I don't have as good of like I haven't been to as many tournaments as you to like see the same teams over and over again, possibly. But yeah, those are the ones that the Flamingos are the ones that come to mind.
Another iconic one, Jack, and this was before the MLW Tournament Circuit was even born. Back in like 2015, when Kyle, Daniel, and I played in the Twinsburg World Series in Ohio. Some of you OG fans, a lot of you pod listeners probably are familiar with those videos from back in the day on the MLW channel. There was a team. This is a very well-run community tournament. What I mean by that was, like, we were the only people really traveling in for that, but the community had so many teams, like 90 teams, something like that. And there was a team of older guys, and their name was Old and Fat. Old and Fat. And that's funny by itself, Jack, but then you saw them, and their jerseys were just plain gray T-shirts, and in block lettering, the front said Old, and the back said Fat. There was no numbers on them, no last names, nothing. Just Old on the front, Fat on the back. And it was so funny to me.
That's it. Simple and effective.
I like simple. I'm a simple guy. Deliver a funny message. Don't have to overthink it. You know, the Runs was a little bit more graphically and aesthetically pleasing, but the same simple concept. You know, team called the Runs, brown jerseys, everyone wears number 2. Like, it's just good. It's just good. So, Jack, I compiled a list of our ideas here. Made a couple notes here. So, again, for those of you who want to sign up, don't have a team name, here are just some food for thought about creating a team. First one I want to share here, Jack. Just consider these. First one I want to say here, if you're feeling a little frisky, you got a lot of power in the lineup, call yourselves the Philly Toms. You know, Philly Tom hit 4 bombs. 3 games, 4 bombs, the series of a lifetime. The Philly Toms. I like that.
I like that one too. I guess kind of like piggybacking off that, if you really want to just get on base, make sure you got a good batting average, you could just go with the ALCS Swagners. I mean, batting 1,000. Everybody's number could just be like 1.0.
I like that. 1.0.
And it's just we're batting 1,000. So you could go with that. Consider it.
I think I'd go one guy's number is just like 2 for 2. One guy's number is 1.000. And then what'd you get? 2 singles there?
Yep.
Maybe just then 2 1B for another guy. I don't know, something like that would be funny. Jack, this one I'm paying some homage to the primary announcer and broadcaster on the MLW channel, which is the Commissioner Kyle Schultz. His famous tagline, swinging a shot. So the team name is Swinging a Shots, named after Kyle Schultz's go-to tagline. I think if Kyle saw that come through on the registration form, he'd be really excited. So Swinging a Shots. Logo, I don't know. I'll have to think on it, but Swinging a Shots, just an idea, just food for thought.
I like
just
that.
A little nibble, a little cracker.
I like that.
A little cracker for thought.
I'm gonna go with. We got to be able to laugh at ourselves here, so I'm gonna go with the giraffe necks. I mean this team. This team, you could get some really creative jerseys. I think giraffes kind of have a cool color too. So yeah, you're going to be tenacious. You're going to bring the energy, and the giraffe necks. Why not? It's kind of like one of those fun like club team names where it's like, why would you name them that? Because it's
gotta
like
have a
so
backstory.
random that
gotta have a backstory.
It's so random that it works.
You make a random name like that, and guess what's going to happen? Kyle Schultz is going to walk up to you and he's going to say, "You guys the Giraffe Necks who just signed in?" You're going to say, "Yeah." And he goes, "Why is your team named the Giraffe Necks?" And boom, you got a conversation with the commish just like that. Talking points.
Yeah. Perfect.
Next one I want to share, Jack. This one only works for a very specific friend group or cast of characters, but your team name would be called the Whifflin' Willies, and every single player's name must be Will. That's a requirement. So last name, not a big deal. First name must be Will or William. The Whifflin' Willies. Just going with that.
I like that. This one was one of my personal favorite that we came up with, and that would just be waffle number 5. And this is my
favorite too.
If you're gonna go with this name, it's gonna take everything, every ounce of that other team's energy to beat you. It could take them hours. It could quite literally take them hours to take you down.
Literally.
So that's just consider it. Waffle number 5. Everyone number 5. I think putting waffles on a jersey, that could look pretty cool. I think you can do a lot with that.
Literally, this would be so funny, Jack. Again, same thing. Go plain white T-shirt, like a waffle PNG, think like clip art from like your old computer in school, and on the back just 5. Waffle 5.
Yep.
I'd see that and shiver. It would send a quiver down my whole spine. Jack, this one about you and I. Some guys aren't necessarily the most talented guys out there, but they are smart. And those are the numbies guys. Your team name is the numbies guys. You're playing the numbies. You're taking pitches. You're seeing pitches. You're learning from pitchers' tendencies. You're very analytical, and you're numbies guys. For that jersey, I think I would just kind of have like numbers 1 through 9, all just kind of scattered all over the front and back, like a bunch of, think like if you spilled a thing of like plastic or wooden numbers as a child.
Yeah, they're just scattered everywhere.
They're just kind of scattered.
Numbies everywhere.
Just numbies. They're numbies guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the numbies guys. That one's good. You have to get Stat Sean on your team though. That's required. You got to fly him out. He's got to at least manage your team.
But more teams should have managers. Although we did make the argument 2 weeks ago about how it's fun to manage your own team, but in a fun way, not like your parents, but like a manager is funny.
Yeah, this one. This one's just a classic. I actually just had this thought. I wonder what you would think about it, but just the Bangerangs. The Bangerangs.
I like it.
You can play that song when you come out, and the logo could kind of be like, Bangerang kind of sounds like boomerang, so you could almost make like a boomerang shaped like wiffle ball bat, like it's bent, but it's in the shape of a boomerang, and it's like hitting a ball. or something, maybe. I don't know. We might have to play with that. But the Bangerangs, I think, that's a recognizable name. People are going to remember that team.
I agree. I do like it.
And you're going to be loud.
It shows
you're going to be one of the loudest teams there.
It shows your MLW fandom as well. I like that.
100%.
This one kind of following up the Numbies guys, but even more so. These are more like the Walk Merchants. Walk Merchants could be a great team name, by the way. Would you say so?
That is a good name.
I didn't even.
I
mean
like that name.
Walk Merchants. I was going for more of a play on words here, a little movie pun. One of my favorite films is School of Rock with Jack Black, but instead of the School of Rock, you are the School of Walk, and you don't swing. That's the rule there. You guys just make the team beat you. You do not let them. You don't beat yourselves. You let them beat you. Take pitches.
I like that. This next one was just simply Dave and Buster's. You are the Dave and Buster's, and this team is simply, they're there to have a good time, right?
Exactly.
And that's something you can't put a price on. You cannot put a price on a good time. That's what they're there to do. The Dave and Buster's team will not be stopped from having a good time. I like that one.
I agree, and I think, I'm not here to encourage any sort of copyright infringement, but I don't think anyone at Dave & Buster's is going to come after you if you use their logo in your local wiffle ball tournament. So you pop that Dave & Buster's logo on the front of your chest, and then you put the Greg Cratch quote on the back. You can't put a price on a good time. That's a heck of a jersey right there, if I may so myself.
Yep.
And then I think also, Jack, home run celly for that team, you got to have a bunch of those tickets on deck. And like if you get a single or a double, you get like a small stack of tickets, but a home run, you got to be someone just a ticket machine at home plate, just spitting out tickets to that guy who just hit a bomb. And then for the remainder of that game, you just walk around with your pockets full of tickets so everyone knows that you went yard.
I love that. That's fantastic.
Good. Glad I have your approval. This one, you poked some fun at yourself, Jack, with your giraffe next comment. This one's poking fun at myself. This is a famous story, which you guys may have remembered from Phoenix, but there was a time when I was standing next to, I think, Kyle Schultz and Ryan Cratch, and Kyle Schultz received a compliment about how good he is and how he's a legend, and Ryan Cratch got a compliment about how his pitches are so incredible. And then this young MLW fan turned to me and said, "Tom, you're so good at announcing." So your team name is just so good at announcing. And all that means is that your game is solid, but it's forgotten and disrespected. So you're just so good at announcing.
I like that one. I'm going to go. So let's see. Which one should I pick on this list? This is going to show that you're like a real OG MLW fan and have watched, every single video, know all the characters, but just simply the Swamp Men. A gritty team, kind of mysterious. You guys might kind of lurk in the shadows a little bit at the tournament. But the Swamp Men, I think you could come up with some pretty cool jerseys too.
Well, I was going to say, Jack, there's a couple things you could do here. If you wanted to just be the Swamp Men and go like full camo and face paint, I'd respect it. But if you really want to be the true Swamp Men, and I know that you're an MLW fan, like Swamp Men and you're just decked out in camo, I might just think, oh, funny coincidence. But if you're Swamp Men and you all come out wearing boots and jeans and a Carhartt t-shirt, maybe even overalls, then I'll know. Then I'll know that you're true MLW fans with that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on for me, Jack. This one is a bit of a shout out to ourselves. This is this is a play on words. One of Jack and I's favorite podcasts is Pardon My Take, which is not a podcast for kids, by the way. So if you're younger, please keep that in mind. But Pardon My Take. You could even be Pardon My Take and just take pitches. But Pardon My Rake. Those guys rake. They hit bombs. You feel me?
That's good. I like that one. Another one I had was Plastic Surgeons. That's kind of like,
oh, good one.
I feel like that's probably been done, but
it may have been done.
It still plays. It may have been done, but I think it still plays. And that might have been like the first T-shirt we ever made. It was like Plastic Surgeon with like a wiffle ball on it. You guys are going to have to be surgical on the mound for this name to play.
Could be an inside job, but also Plastic Surgeons could mean you're scuffing your own balls, which is not allowed. But
ooh,
just something to keep your eye out.
See, I thought of it as like you're just so precise.
You're surgical. I agree.
You're surgical.
That's what the shirt was intended for. Is you're surgical out there. You're surgical out there with the plastic. Winding down our list here a little bit. Little pun here, Jack. The Ken Whiffy Juniors. I like that. Never seen that before. Thought of it myself. Pretty proud of it. I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Feel free to use that if you don't like anything else on this list. And wear your hat backwards.
Another name pun. I feel like it's just a layup. The Norpedos.
Oh yeah, name puns they always play though, Jack. You're not going to get discredited for it unless it's already been done before.
No, they totally do. They totally do.
So I'm never going to hate on a name pun. Last one on my list, Jack, that I have is and this is more. I don't know if this is widely used, but it's used by a good amount of the niche wiffle ball community. And that's the original yellows. And that is a reference to the original wiffle ball yellow bat made by Wiffle Inc. For this one, you got to wear all yellow. You're the original yellows. You're OGs. You're classic. You're not too flashy. You go out there, you swing your bat, and you hit bombs. That's simple as that. So
the last one I had. This is I'm gonna flex my baseball knowledge here because you guys know I don't know anything about baseball. But I thought of just the deep left drives, and everybody's name is just Castellanos on the back.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I mean, I feel like that could play. Like you're definitely a baseball fan. If you get that reference, but that I feel like that could play.
The references, yeah. Usually you can tell, Jack, by some of these like team names, or also you're caught by surprise sometimes. But sometimes there's definitely more like borderline and like an adult pun or things of that nature. And you can tell like this is probably like a 16+ team versus a 10+ team. But you'd be surprised. Some of the younger kids come up with pretty funny stuff. And Kyle and I kind of look at each other in the past and have been like, it's all right. It's okay. It's like if it's SpongeBob humor, okay, it's probably okay for our audience. That's kind of how I look at things like that.
That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense. If it could make it on Nickelodeon, it's probably all right.
Yeah. There's probably so many more. This is what Jack and I were able to brainstorm throughout the past few days. But there's got to be some creative people out there in the comments who have some great puns or funny things they could come up with for team names, for other ideas for people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like if we could like do this same segment like again in like a month, and I feel like just come up with a whole new list of names.
I know. I should brainstorm and just maybe next year around this time we try to fire off more again.
It'd be really cool to see a team actually come with one of these names because then you just know that they're Pipe It Up listeners too.
Has there ever been a team called Pipe It Up, by the way? I'm not sure there has.
Not that I've seen. I feel like Kyle definitely would have made us aware.
I think so too.
If that was the case.
Go Pipe It Up. Maybe the Pipe Cleaners. I don't know. A lot of ideas, but the PVC something.
Pros.
I like that. I like that a lot, Jack. That's solid.
Yeah.
We're on the fly.
Look at us right here on the spot.
You're a witty guy. But no, that was fun. I'm glad we did that. And I hope you guys enjoyed it at home. The last thing I wanted to talk about today, Jack, was March Madness a little bit, but also tying it back to our postseason because I have just mixed feelings about sort of everything right now. Did you follow along with the tournament this weekend by chance, Jack? March Madness?
I did. I watched, I'm checking my bracket, seeing where I'm at in the pools. I don't have 50 like Jorgie does, but I do have a couple in the mix. I didn't I can't say, I watched until my eyes bled other than the late night Michigan State games that I tried to stay up for. But I did check the scores. I mean, it's kind of funny. Jorgie did say, he's like, I don't really have any like major upsets. And he picked a couple, but that's kind of how it's turned out so far. I mean, there's been some decent like 13. What was there like a 12-5 maybe? There wasn't that many like crazy upsets.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12-5 was the worst one, yeah.
I will toot my own horn a little bit here and say I did pick successfully both the 12-5 upsets, but I've also picked stuff that didn't happen. So my bracket is very mediocre. But people are upset, Jack, because I mean, you think March Madness and you think madness, and we haven't really gotten a whole lot of madness quite yet. Definitely some good games, but not the typical like a 2 seed or a 3 seed goes down out of nowhere, like big blue blood program, like take Bryant beating Michigan State, for example, would have been a classic like March Madness shocker. Sorry, your Bulldogs did lose. They hung around though, Jack. I'll give them props. They hung around for a little while.
They're a ball club. They're a ball club for sure. They hung around. You kind of were watching in the first half, going like, yeah, I don't know if this can hang on much longer, but they hung tough. You got to give them credit.
I give them credit. And I was telling my roommates, and I was with Kyle Schultz actually, and I was saying like, Michigan State Bryant is the last game from these first 2 days. We have not had the shocker yet. I'm a little nervous. Like, this tournament's due for a shocker. Thankfully, we didn't have it for me and Spartan Faithful. I'm rocking a Spartan basketball t-shirt today, hoping that these fellas can make a Final Four. We'll see. But, again, people were upset. Not a lot of madness. People root for these upsets. But at the same time, like, this is a one-and-done tournament, and it's not necessarily reflective of how your regular season went. If you're, again, a 2 seed like Michigan State and you lose to Bryant, it's like your regular season was fantastic, but now you have nothing to show for it. Is this really the best way to find a national champion? So I feel like people want both. People want to see upsets, and they want craziness, but they also then complain about how like that's not a great representation of the regular season. And that's like a huge thing that's always brought up in baseball and in wiffle ball, MLW specifically, about how like you play the whole 15-game regular season and then the 3-game series decides your fate. And it's like, what do you people want? I mean, it's exciting, right? Plus, what makes playoffs exciting. So I guess, I don't know, like, do you get bummed out as a fan when there's no upsets, or do you like when a team shows that, they deserve the seeding they got and there's a reason why they were so good all year?
I mean, I think the upsets are fun to watch just because it's so exciting for like that school, especially when it's like a really small school that, take like a Bryant, for example, or like St. Peter's, it's like no one had ever heard of St. Peter's unless you went there. Mm-hmm. And then they beat Kentucky, I think, right? And it's like, oh, now people have heard of it. Like that's really cool. And just like stuff that's never happened before, like when UMBC beat Virginia, like first ever, so like cool. 16-1, like that's just history. So that's really cool. I would say like the only thing is like as a kind of a fair weather basketball fan, I guess, like I don't like watch it that much. I've said that before, but like I'm kind of just like, if I'm gonna watch basketball, like I just want it to be an exciting game and a good game. And I think when the upsets happen in the beginning of the tournament, like rarely do those like high seeded teams actually make like a Final Four push. They might win like one more heroic game, and then like in the Sweet 16 round, they just get like blown out. And it's just like, okay, well, yep, here, there's the true colors. Like that's like what the team actually, that's more representative of the team. So I think it's just like, I like the idea of like, hey, everything you're doing in the regular season is just to earn an opportunity, and based on how good you did, increases the likelihood of you making it farther towards a national championship if you're a higher seed. But it's still like you got to go out and play the games, and I really like that about the tournament style. I do think like in MLW, I think if we did more than like a 3-game series in the playoffs, it's too much. I think the 3 games is fine. Again, I think you're playing to earn. You're earning a spot, and that's all you're doing. It's great to win like a regular season title, but you don't hang banners for that, and that's just kind of like how sports work. So I wouldn't switch to like a one game elimination for that. And similarly for baseball. For like, I feel like you're talking about, again, here, I'm flexing my baseball knowledge. I feel like you're talking about like Dodgers fans, like outside of this, because did they win this past year?
They did, but in the past, it's not been the case.
So before that, it was like they were the best team in the regular season, right? Then they make it to the playoffs and like don't get past the first round, or like don't make it to the World Series, and then they're complaining the whole time. I think that's lame. Like that's what you did. You did that in the regular season to earn whatever your spot is in the playoffs. You still have to go play the games. Like that's great that you were great in the regular season, but playoff any sport is different. Like when push comes to shove and like championships are on the line, that reveals like the true competitors, and it's just different. So I don't have like I think like the way that that's set up makes complete sense.
I agree. And if you really think about it, Jack, and MLW especially, like a 3-game series, that's potentially 20% of the season that we play. We only play a 15-game regular season. In the MLB, they're playing 3-game postseason series, and they play 162. So that comparison is like not the same thing at all, in my opinion, when our season's already pretty short in terms of the amount of games every team's play.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, but it's like, what do you want them to do? You want them to play like a 20-game series?
No, I like the MLB postseason. I think it's fun.
Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying, but like just relatively speaking, it's not even on the same. It's not even close to being on the same level.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, Jack, if one year we just decided to do like a 1-game bracket? 1 plays the 8, 2 plays the 7, 3 plays the 6, 4 plays the 5 in MLW, and that was the playoffs.
I think it would be really cool. I mean, I think it would be, you know, I think it would be really exciting. We've had some exciting World Series. I think just like in nature, like all the World Series exciting stuff happens. But I mean, last year was a sweep. The year before that ended up being a really exciting World Series, but it was very close to being a sweep. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember. Let's see who won the year before that.
The D-backs
in 22.
At SoFi.
The D-backs, which was a gentleman's sweep.
I don't know what a gentleman's sweep is, but it was in 4 games. Oh no, sorry, it was a sweep. It was a sweep. It was a sweep. You're right.
It was a sweep.
They went to extra innings in Game 3, but it was a sweep.
And then what? The year before that, it was D-backs again and Wildcats.
And that went to 5. That was a crazy series.
That went to 5. And then now we're really pushing it here.
2020
was the Gators.
Gators versus Eagles. No, couldn't have been. Gators versus Cats? Is that who it was?
Preds? Was it Preds Eagles?
No, Preds Eagles was 2019. And the Preds won.
Which was a sweep.
Yeah, it was a sweep. 2020 must have been Wildcats versus Gators.
It's kind of like we've had these you know, we've had a lot of sweeps like in the World Series.
We have.
It's either like a close one or it's a sweep. So it's like, you know, how much is that really? I don't know. Would it be more exciting if it was like 1 versus 8 and it's like single elimination? Like,
it'd be nuts. That's for sure.
Who knows?
Because that means this year, for example, that would have placed. I can't remember total wins. I think it would have placed the D-backs playing the Gators. No, D-backs playing the Wildcats, something like that. But like the Wildcats were a good team. That's a terrible 8 seed to face.
Cats could have made a run, but like that would have been so exciting if that was the story. Like Wildcats, like that team made a run. Like nobody would have seen them winning. You know what I mean? And then if they go on to win, it's like what an unbelievable 30 for 30 that one would be.
Yeah. I love playing the hypotheticals, Jack. Another idea, you could do the same thing. 1-game elimination, 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, et cetera, in a bracket. But maybe instead of doing a 3-inning game, do like a 6-inning game, like an all-star game or a 5-inning game, and do it that way. So a little bit of a larger sample size, but just 1 contest, 1 winner.
Yeah.
So many opportunities for change.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities.
But yeah, overall, Jack, that was again, we pulled together an agenda, and I had a good time that episode. What'd you think?
It was good. I will share. I think Tommy has a lot of whiffs of the week that he's been telling me that he's been cooking. Whiffs. So I think we're out of time today to cover them. But like maybe in these next few episodes we can kind of like piece in the whiff of the weeks. I know
it's tough to find time.
I know. I mean, we jam-packed episodes. You know, just a bunch of packed action.
Bunch of packed action.
But I was gonna say, this is you're witnessing this in real time. If you're listening to this podcast, going, why is Jack thinking so slow? That's because I am thinking so slow, and I'm thinking of maybe starting a new segment called just like Brain Dead Dad. Because
boy.
just the sleep deprivation is definitely starting to take effect. I'll just share a really, really quick. This was the segment that if you remember the very beginning of the episode when it took me like probably 15 seconds to find my words, and I said that maybe I have a new segment idea. This is the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
But so the other day, going to work out in the morning. I have a little workout group with some people in my office. My boss is a part of the group. And so there's, a workout board laid out there for us. And I'm looking at the board and I'm like, what is AB wheel? Like, what's that exercise? AB wheel. And,
I know where this is going.
My boss is like, you mean the ab wheel? And I was like, oh boy, wow. And he's just like, dude, you got baby brain bad. So maybe that's the name of the segment, just baby brain.
That's actually a great segment name, I'll be honest.
Yeah. I was trying to think with Sarah. I was asking her for ideas of like, because there's been so many little moments here and there where like one of us has said something like so dumb because we're just so like sleep deprived, and we can't even remember what they are now. So I'm gonna have to start like writing them down so I can share them in that segment.
Your baby brain is preventing you from running an effective baby brain segment.
Literally, yeah, that's the definition. It's the definition of the segment is I can't even think of all the scenarios for the segment.
Oh, that's funny. I've been I think I've been vocal on this podcast before how I've never been a night owl. I'm not one to try to work deeper into the night. I do enjoy a good night's sleep, and I think it helps me be the best version of myself. But I've also I don't have a baby. I don't have baby brain. But I've had a long few weeks here from a work perspective where I've been losing sleep too and just working, constant long hours. But the term I use, Jack, is mush brain. Like sometimes it gets late at night and I do something stupid and I go, I got mush brain. I need to call it. So I do relate to you. I'm sure yours is taking it to a different extreme. So thoughts and prayers go your way. But hopefully, you're at least enjoying it along the way a little bit.
No, it's all good. It's fantastic. And if anything, we're going to get a new segment out of it. So
it's a good way to look at it. Baby brain coming soon to this podcast. But Jack, I know you are busy, so fans, give a nice thank you to Jack in the comments for spending some time with us every week. We really enjoy it, and this is a fun one. I'm glad you contributed to the name game there, the team name game. That was a lot of fun for me. And next week, Jack, there will be some news. There will be some news in this podcast about MLW, some moves that are happening, pre-draft, guys moving around, making decisions. Don't want to spoil too much. But so I'm hoping that one of those guys who made a decision is on the show to join us and can talk about it a little bit. So that's all I'm going to say. I can't promise him as a guest, but we're hopeful. We're hopeful at this point. So
yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Lot of stuff to announce.
Yeah. We will we'll leave you with that for excitement. Watch some basketball this weekend, have some fun, try to avoid baby brain, and we will see you all next Wednesday.
Pipe it up.